In this video, we're going to use the Lawman database to predict and explain batting average. The code could be modified to forecast on base percentage or OPS, things like that. But we're just gonna use a basic approach to a forecast batting average a couple different ways, and think about some of the things that we could do otherwise. So we're going to use the Lawman database. So I'm going to load that into the library with my Control Enter. And of course, we're going to use the tidyverse as well. We're also going to use factor variables. We've used factor variables before. It's very clear when we did the attendance regression. Every city became a factor in our regression. Here, we're going to need to take a year, a numerical variable, and convert it to a factor variable. And so this is forecast package will help us. If you haven't installed it, you might want to install it. I've got it already installed, so I'm just going to load it into the library. All right, so the first thing we want to do is create our data frame. We're going to use batting data. And I'm used to, in the Lawman database, they've got doubles and triples, x2b and x3b, so they work fine as those variables. Remember, we got in trouble with some of the CSV files where it was 2xb and 3xb. R doesn't always like a variable that begins with a number. But in this case, I like to work with doubles and triples, so I'm going to just use the simple rename function. So I'm going to load batting in, and I'm going to rename x2b and x3b to doubles and triples. So there's my batting data. All right, now I'm going to join it with people and calculate ages and some basic stats. So here I start with batting. I join it with inner join with people by player ID. I remember that I need to round the month up if someone's born after June 30th. We're going to calculate age, hits, singles, walks, slugging, OBP, and so on. Some of the stats we've done throughout the semester. And now we're going to get into something new. We're going to create some lag variables. So now that I've got some basic stats created, I'm going to take my batting data frame. I'm going to group by player ID, and this is very important to group by because the lag knows that it's only going to look by player ID, right? So if you think about how this data set is constructed, we start with observations by year. So this is going to group it by player. So if in the player's first year in the MLB, they're not going to have a lag. So when I do the lag command, for instance, when I lag OPS, that'll be a missing observation for the first year. And when I lag OPS by 2 years, it'll be a missing observation for the first 2 years. So this won't be a very good regression for predicting somebody who's just new to the league, but it'll give us some idea for more experienced players. All right, so we see how the lag works. Lag function, we take the variable we want to lag, comma, 1, tells us lag by 1 period. We lag OPS for 2 periods, we do comma 2, and so on. I notice here these are some vestiges that I can get rid of, the n equals 1 and n equals 2. I just missed those when I was cleaning things up. Those were just some variables. But let's go ahead and run that. So that creates my lag variables. Let's open the batting data frame and take a look. So if I go out to the end, I can see a lot of missing variables. Here we go, though. This guy, his batting average was 329, but the year before it was 389. This must be somebody pretty decent, right? Way early in the data frame. Let's go down later in the data set. We see, for instance, this guy hit 201 in 2018. In 2017, he hit 250, but in 2016, he hit 174. So those are how we think about lags. And notice they're all in the one line with that, associated with that one observations, right? So the observation 2016 batting average will be its batting average, but then it'll be a lag 1 for 2017. It'll be a lag 2 for 2017. All right, so the next thing we want to do is calculate career statistics for each player. So we're going to use our cum sum function in dplyr. So we're going to take batting, group again by player ID, and just use this cum sum to sum up all the walks, at bats, plate appearances, and so on. Then we're going to calculate career statistics, career slugging, career OBP, OPS, and so on. We'll create this age square. We might not use it in this one, but it might be interesting later. And then we're going to lag the career batting average by 1, because we want to know, if I'm going to forecast this year's batting average, I wouldn't want to use career batting average, which would include this year as part of my regression. So let's run that. All right, and the next thing I want to do is I want to select all the different things I'm going to use in my regression. So I'm just getting rid of a lot of the extraneous stuff. I just want player ID and all the different variables that I'm going to try out in my regression. If I decide to add additional variables, I need to remember to add them here with the select command. And then I'm going to narrow down.